Welcome to Let It Happen, the leadership conversation, where leadership is examined, not explained. This is a space for leaders who understand that change doesn't fail because of strategy. It fails of how we show up inside. Each episode is anchored in a chapter of the book Let It Happen. Not to repeat it, but to examine what it asks of us. I'm Mau Espinosa, leadership provocator and author of Let It Happen. I'm joined by Joseph Bartosik, leadership coach and practitioner, focused on emerging leaders and the next generation of leadership. Joseph brings the lens of becoming, the questions, the tensions, the aspirations of leaders early in their journey. Welcome.
Welcome to the podcast. We're here to talk about heroes on these leadership conversations that follows the book Let It Happen by yours truly. The chapter that we're going to talk today, Joseph, heroes.
Yes.
Very interesting name. A lot of people will just dive into Superman and Iron Man, Spider-Man, and all those characters.
Yep. Just basic comic book heroes for sure. That's the immediate thought process, at least.
Yeah. Everybody, and then, obviously, I in the book I put Batman, and we're going to come to that one later on. Mm-hmm. But when we talk about heroes in this book, the context, the idea, why this, obviously is the personalities that we're building, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In our lives, as we're growing up since we're kids, sometimes we don't even know, but we're creating a lot of, how we say it, excitement, knowledge, admiration for people.
Yeah, no, we're growing and we're learning and we're looking at people, and when you're young, when you're still learning everything, you see people who know and have so much knowledge, and you're just like, they're smart. I want to be like them. Heroes is very broad in term of just people we look up to who inspire us. We give them that title hero because, we look up to heroes.
Right.
Yes, we do.
Right. And it's very interesting because there's one part that I really like on this whole heroes exercise. Number one is what we're developing as humans. We're growing and we're choosing without even knowing. Mm-hmm. But there's also the part that people are choosing for us.
Yes. You're given some things you don't even really understand because you're a baby, you're a kid. You can't make all the decisions naturally. Mm-hmm. So you have your parents who turn on the shows they think you'll like. Uh-huh. They give you certain toys that you think you'll like or that you respond to. For me, I grew up having a lot of horse toys. Mm-hmm. How I interact with horses a lot. I absolutely love them, and whether that was something that was just kind of like, I have the toy now, that's what I like, or whether it's something I've always liked, I don't know. Right. But there's always these like subconscious little nudges in certain directions that we're given when we're very young. And babies and children, they're all very smart. They pick up and perceive a lot of things more than what we give them credit for.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, some of those stories may come from a little show, a little movie, even a commercial that you saw probably with horses. And they're also like, oh, those are fantastic animals.
Yep.
And then you start liking them. And then your parents at that point just allow you to have them, mm-hmm. right? So that's a way that you can say, okay, can horses be your heroes?
I definitely think they can, yeah.
I actually think they are.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily, and that's a good point, it's not necessarily a person that mm-hmm. is your hero, right? Yeah. Because what you're getting out of that concept of heroes, and I wanted to be on that part right now, where is the one that they chose for us, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
Like when I was growing up, my mom was a lot about keeping in sports. Mm-hmm. So I was going from one to the other one to the other one. So naturally, I started looking out for soccer players. Growing in Mexico City and playing football, soccer, mm-hmm. it just gets you like, okay, I want to be like that player. And because I was in sports, I always thought that's who I am. I'm a sports kid. Mm-hmm. And if I get out of that part, it might not be who I am. But these personalities that we're building, the sports kid, because that's what it was, the horse kid, But there's some other ones, that when you start um, going into developing your own persona,
Mm.
that you start choosing,
Yeah.
that you start understanding who you like, what they like, what you like about them, right? Even when we kids, we like to play the Sinbad or um, Batman or whoever because we want to show that we're strong because that's one part that heroes bring, right? You need to be strong, you need to be good. All heroes talk about good versus evil in their own stories. So that's something that start creating something inside us.
Yes.
Right? How that goes. You only are a hero until you become a villain or something.
Harvey Dent from Batman.
Yeah.
Live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or die a hero, or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
There you go.
Yeah.
What does that bring us into this conversation about heroes? Specifically, the part that basically is telling us that there's something inside us that we don't communicate to the outside, but it triggers inside us on the way we react, we talk, we confront situations. We go in this world. Just think about it. We go in this world. And I'm going to talk about I'm trying to go into the chosen heroes, which heroes we chose. And in the book, I talk about 4 specific ones. And so there's a part here, and sorry, I'm going from one part to the other one. But there are heroes that you chose at a certain age that as you grow older, you don't need them anymore. They have served their purpose.
Okay, yeah.
And when I say that is, I have 4 heroes that probably are my canon heroes, and that's the ones I talk in the book. I talk about Sherlock Holmes. I talk about Bruce Wayne, Batman. I talk about 007, James Bond, and I talk about Albert Einstein. 3 are fictional, 1 is real, right? But what is it about them that help me develop the person who I am?
Okay.
So they bring me confidence. They bring me the idea that I can keep it in my line of business when I'm doing the work in the companies, that I can keep looking, that the answer might be very simple if I try to be simple enough to look for that, not overcomplicate me. Like that's part of the Sherlock Holmes idea, right? Einstein with his mind, of course, was brilliant, but I think the most brilliant part of him was his curiosity for things. And that's where I just like, okay, what else can we do? How can we read things?
Yeah.
So for me, those are my 4 canon. Through time, I probably love Simba, the sailorman, right? And I probably, the adventure part of that. It was fun. And I remember when I was even younger, like when I was 12, 15, if I make sense of that, Tom Sawyer, which was the first real book that I read that I got involved because of the adventures and the mischievous things. I wanted to be like him. I remember taking my cousins and we will go and we will explore the places in Querétaro where the farm is. And there was nothing there. We just walk out and we felt everywhere. So that was a hero that was shaping and forming something in me at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So yeah. So really, when it comes to like chosen heroes, and I think there's 2 reasons behind why we choose someone to be our hero or someone we look up to, right? And that is either they have something that we want or aspire to have, or we can relate to them in a very deep way. And typically, those characters, heroes, get referred to as comfort characters a lot because it's someone in typically media who betrays something that you've dealt with deeply and personally on an emotional level, and it's being shown in media, and you can relate to it very deeply. And you're like, that it's a connection of being felt like you're being seen. And those ones happen a lot. And then you have the ones where you're a kid and you just see characters doing all this cool stuff and you're like, I wish I could do that. I want to do those things. And then they become your heroes. And then as we get older and we start developing more of this emotional intelligence of how we work and perceive through our actions and our emotions and everything, that's when they're not just doing cool things that look really awesome, like Spider-Man swinging from building to building. They're also Peter Parker, who is an outcast nerd who gets bullied and has to deal with people dying and his parents being dead. It's all this extra trauma that gets built into them. And that's when it starts becoming something even more of a hero of there's a suffering, but they're still saving. And that's this kind of growth of who we choose to be our heroes. Because at first it starts off when you just see something cool.
Yeah.
And that's when you're young, you're like, oh, awesome. And then as we develop and grow and have more understanding, and then we can see the deeper meanings of these characters and these heroes. And then they become something even more for us of this emotional foundation.
And what that creates is that starts shaping our personalities, right? That starts bringing things. So for me, a lot of times, and I'm going to ask you this question here in a second, when do you wear your cape or your mask?
Mm.
Because, and that's part of the burden of everybody, right? Because we're creating our personality. In our personality, we know that either I'm very good at one thing and I feel very confident with it, and there's some other ones that I don't, but I have to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you bring these tools. I call heroes a tool. I can bring these tools and say, like, okay, if I were this person right now, how would this character behave? And I can understand those parts, and I can bring the confidence that it's going to be okay. I can do this. I can do that. So the whole idea of the heroes is to have tools behind us that will put us in front of situations that might be a little difficult, challenging, that we can overcome it. But at what point also did that can become a burden? Is that really your personality?
Okay. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people really struggle with this because this comes into the question of like, who are you? That it gets asked a weird amount of times when we're in school and we have like zero sense of self. Who are you? And we just put our names down. And no one really has a good foundation of who they are because we all put on a cape or a mask or something when we go out for social interactions and, we have a feel to need to be an extroverted person when we may not be that way. So we have a picture of someone in our head, either a hero or someone we look up to, and we're like, oh, they're extroverted. I'll kind of act like this. This will be the mask I wear for today.
Right.
I'll wear the mask of being really friendly or wear the mask of being really smart or, on the deeper levels of just like family interactions of I'll wear the mask of being the good son. The good kid, the one who behaves, the one who does the chores and the dishes, or maybe I won't. And then we all get to our bedroom or somewhere that's a safe place and we drop the mask and then we're alone. And and this decomposing of everything that just happened, letting all of what you just did that doesn't necessarily feel like who you are because you had to actively put on a mask or a cape and act like someone else.
And those moments of vulnerability are so amazing. When you're a parent, what you just have described, it's so interesting because you come at night when they're about to fall asleep, and you come to the last cuddles and you know that they have decompressed. They're like, okay, so and you can ask us one simple question, are you okay to go to sleep? And they're probably just going to say, well, I got this in my mind. Even if you ask, it's a lot easier for the person or for that kid at that moment to communicate. because it has already processed everything that you just described,
Mhm.
right? And that helps us also to go into, so we're talking about self. So heroes is really tools to create the self,
Mhm.
right? At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's like, okay, I'm creating this self, how I'm creating my personality. And sometimes it's built because it was almost designed for you, right? From parents that are very overwhelming, sometimes they're designing that personality and you create a lot of other problems. Sometimes it's everything has to be just natural as it flows. Sometimes it's chosen. Sometimes you come to a point, it's like, hey, I'm missing this, I'm missing that. And then you're kind of picking, probably not on a very analytical way because you're still a kid or a teenager. As you grow older, you probably do a little bit more, like what I did with some of these characters. Okay, I really need to read all these books. I really need to study the character.
Mhm.
Like when I started, I was telling you earlier, when I start speaking in front of people, obviously you go and you take some classes and you learn speech and you learn how to deliver and how to write, and you start knowing all this theory.
Mhm.
But theory and practice are two completely different things. So then I start studying some people that deliver speeches from people that I like because of what they represent or the way they think to people I completely didn't
Mhm.
because I was not studying the person or the message. I was studying the craft of delivering the message,
Mhm.
right? So that you start creating your own style by understanding what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're having also all these characters in front of you when you go like, oh, I really love this guy, the way he talks. I can listen to him for 30 minutes.
Mhm.
But I cannot be him
No.
because that's what we don't do. So basically, our heroes is study that and take what it works for you.
Yeah.
As much as I like Bruce Wayne, I cannot be Bruce Wayne. He never existed.
Mhm.
And I don't think I will ever have the amount of money that he represents to have in the comics.
Yeah.
Let's put that too. But where I'm going with all this, future selves, vision self. I mean, there's some theories in the article that if they read, they're going to see who we're referring to. There's no need for us to go into that here. It's more about how do we use our vision, our visualization, our future self to create. Can our future self be our hero?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Man, I really wish I could remember what the speaker's name was, but he was speaking on just another guy speaking about how he became successful. But it was, I picture myself 10 years from now. Who do I want to be? How do I want to act? What do I want to have? If I could see myself 10 years from now, what's the best possible version I could see? And then I picture that, and then I do everything in my power to get towards that. And then every 10 years, I start over. Who do I want to be 10 years from now? And if it's not 10 years, that's too far, 5 years, 1 year, 3 months. Who do I want to be tomorrow? And how do I absolutely do everything in my power to become that? You know? And so it's, in that way, you are automatically making someone you're looking up to, even if it's yourself. Because that's who you want to be or what you want to be like or get close to. And so as soon as you have that and you're striving towards it, as soon as you start striving towards a person, whether it be your future self, whether it be some random character or just someone you met one day, you're striving for that person, they're becoming what you could call your hero.
Great. And with that, it will give you the necessary idea of the tools that you need to become that person.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you get like the idea of the speech. Okay, I see myself giving speeches. Well, I need to learn that. I see myself doing this. Well, I need to learn that. It will give you a lot of the ways to get there. So it's going to be a procedure. It's going to be a map of actions. Because just not by visualizing is going to happen, right?
No.
There's action that to be taken. And as we move into that, at what point it becomes the duality? What I mean by that, at what point when we're creating and we're working with who we are and trying to be authentic all the time, and it's very interesting, the word authentic, because we're a construction of many different things, and according to the situation, it's not that I'm different, but I'm going to use different tools to be that person, right? My canon values are always the same. But I can understand that at this point I need to be more serious, or I need to be more funny, that I need to be more adventurous or less adventurous, right? But there's this duality. At the end, there might be things that I have to do, but it makes me uncomfortable, but I know I need to have to do them. That doesn't mean I'm not being authentic. I'm just using some tools inside me to do that, right? And that's why I see, like you were talking about, Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Peter Parker gets bullied. Or when he's Spider-Man, nobody bullies him, right?
Yeah.
So at what point that duality can create some burden in the person?
I think it's the fact of that the duality, or using all these different tools, it's often viewed as putting on a show or wearing that mask. And no one feels like you're authentic when you wear a mask or a cape. You feel authentic when, like when I said earlier, you feel authentic when you are alone in your safe space and you're letting everything go. When it's only you and you know you can put everything down and let everything go, that's when you feel authentic. That's when you feel like the real you. And so a lot of people tend to think, because when you're decomposing, you're letting go of all this stress or all this sadness or all this burden you've been going through all day, and you're finally on your own. So a lot of people think the real me is the person at the end of the day, and they are not always a happy person. I wear a mask, and that is who people see. That's who people think I am, because we use the term mask in it, and a lot of people view it as faking. I mean, a lot of teenagers and kids deal with this all the time, that, you know, they're being fake or wearing masks, and they get told all the time by parents or teachers, that's not you. This isn't you. And that's a ridiculous thing to say to anybody at any point in their life, that what they're doing isn't them.
Because at that point, it's exactly them.
It very well could be. You are not in their head. You don't know. You may have known who they were, but you do not know who they are now.
Or at that particular moment, because whatever they're leading at that particular moment have put them to use whatever tools available, whether conscious or unconscious.
They could be actively changing who they are, who they want to be.
Exactly.
And, you know, it's a big struggle, because individuals, we separate ourselves alone with ourselves with people when we're using those tools. And I think it's very important that people start to realize that who we are as a whole is all of that. We are constantly changing and growing and adapting and using tools for how to figure things out. Just because you have to act a little bit different at one point of the day doesn't mean you are any less you in that moment than when you are at the end of the day or the beginning of the day. Just because you have to change a little bit, it does not change who you are as a person. You just have to, like, I have to be a little funnier right now to bring up the room because someone's sad, or I have to be a little extroverted right now because we're going out and I want to dance. I want to have a good time. I want to be this bright energy. So I need to really hype myself up. I need to act like this person who I know always has a good time. Like, it doesn't make you any less you. You're trying to become more of you.
Right.
And it's very important that we start to look at it that way, so we stop splitting ourselves and viewing us as...
It's a great point, because, as you said, we evolve. We're always changing. And that idea that, hey, that's not justified, you know? Like, this is the Joseph I am.
Yeah. It's not the Joseph you knew,
Exactly.
past tense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of things have happened through that time. It could be a week, it could be years,
Mhm.
but things have changed, things have evolved, and you know, sometimes when we feel more happy, we act one way. Sometimes when we feel stressed, we act a completely different way. But that doesn't mean we're not we, right? Now, I want to start closing our podcast. There's two things that I want to talk about. The first one I think is very important because we're talking about the heroes we've chosen to use.
Mhm.
But we're not talking about us as heroes to somebody else.
Yes. I think it's always a surprise, I feel like, when you find out someone looks up to you. Because we spend so much time looking up to others and trying to become something better or more. And we're very focused on changing who we are. I feel like it's always a surprise when someone's like, I look up to you. And for whatever reason, because we never think about who we are as an individual, how strong or resilient or capable or what we've actually gone through, because we're focused on the future and we don't always look at actually the things we've done or what we are. So when someone says that, it not only, I feel like it very much gives us a moment to stop and to reflect and kind of see how we've grown. Because I feel like no matter where you are in life, someone can look up to you for something.
Right.
Whether it's, I look up to you because you handled this work day so well and it was utter crap, or you went above and beyond today, or I look up to you simply because maybe you're having a hard time and you're still showing up to school. You know, they can be so basic and it can be so big at the same time. And it is powerful all the same when we can hear that. Because there's someone out there who definitely is looking up to you right now and your actions, and it reflects who they are and who they choose to become.
And the power of that.
Yes.
I'm going to quote again with Spider-Man, but with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? But there is a lot of power in that. When you start understanding that there's people that are looking at you, when they tell you that, when for me, it creates really a stronger responsibility for the ways I keep doing it, how I'm doing it, and all that. And I think it's very important that we own that, that we can be proud of ourselves, that we're becoming our heroes at the same time. And we probably were before, we didn't even know until somebody told us. But there is not just the responsibility, but the ownership of that. I think is very important.
Yes, definitely. Because what you decide when someone tells you they look up to you, it's going to reflect how they come out. I remember very directly some friends told me that they looked up to me, and then I did something, and I said, I'm not going to lie to you, Joseph, this kind of made me lose some respect for who you are. And I was like, one, incredibly thankful that they said that. And two, that made me change a lot of what I was doing and how I was acting. And throughout the years, I've seen some of the friends who've, like, I know look up to me. And I think about, what am I doing now? Am I actually being a good role model for them? Is this who I want them to look up to? And if the answer is no, then I got a lot of changing to do.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of responsibility in it. And I think as long as we and people handle it correctly, it triggers so much growth, and not just you, but the people you're surrounded by.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. For me, it has become one of the most powerful tools in leadership to own that. When people tell you, I respect you, I look up for you, so people tell me, you're my hero, and for whatever reason it is. And I think everybody is a hero of somebody, and you need to take responsibility for that. You need to own that. The next chapter, we're going to be playing a little bit with some amazing theories and works that we do.
Yep.
Right? Because all these heroes and everything that we have talked on the podcast so far is working with who we are inside.
Mhm.
What do we do? What tools do we have? How we go into this world? How we can face the world better? How can be stronger?
Mhm.
But there are still things inside us.
Yes. Because no matter what we put on, no matter what we show, in the next chapter, it's going to be, no matter what you put on, you're not going to be able to put on a show for this.
Exactly. So I'm not going to say anymore. I think that's what is going to happen in the next chapter. So read the chapter that we have out there. Read the book. Read the article. Hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. And we have a surprise for you in the next one. Thank you and have a great week, day, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Okay. Thank you, guys.